It flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river flow. And I took that napkin and I took my guitar out and wrote the tune and finished up the words, and we called it the Ballad of Easy Rider. And when it first came out, I gave Dylan a credit. Words and music by Bob Dylan and Roger McGuinn. And he called me up shortly after that and said, "Hey, what's this credit?" And I said, "Well, you wrote half of it." He said, "No, that's okay. I don't need the money. You keep it."
That's generosity.
Yeah, it was nice of him.
I guess that there's footage of your performance at the Monterey Pop Festival is due to be released in some sort of form.
I hadn't heard that. Yeah. It didn't come out in the original movie.
It's okay. It says there's a box set that's slated for release.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
Do you remember?
I don't know about that.
Do you remember anything about the performance?
It wasn't very good as far as I remember. I don't know. It would be interesting to look at it again, but the band was kind of cracking up at that point. Crosby wanted to go off and work with Stephen Stills, and his heart really wasn't in it, so it wasn't a real great performance.
So it may be something you cringe at eventually, huh?
I don't know. I have to see it, and then I'll tell you.
The fellow that wrote the questions here says he personally liked the Byrds when Graham Parsons was sharing the helm. Although unfortunately the band really didn't enjoy much chart success at that time.
Yeah.
How about your own feelings about that particular stage?
Well, I enjoyed the country rock thing that we were doing. Although you're right, it didn't go well with the audience. We lost our rock audience because they thought we'd kind of sold out to the country thing, and the country audience never embraced us because we were a bunch of hippies. So we didn't really get anybody interested in that until many years later. And then, ironically, it became sort of a collector's item, and Rolling Stone magazine put it up as one of the top 25 albums in the or something like that. One of the top 100 albums in the last 25 years, or something like that.
How did you feel about it at the time? Would you have misgivings about the direction of the band? Or?
No, I liked it. I was into it. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not quite sure why he asked this, but he wants your opinions of Moby Grape, Love, and Quicksilver Messenger Service.
I didn't really. They were basically, Moby Grape and Quicksilver were San Francisco bands.
Oh, that's what I told him.
Yeah, and Love was an LA band that Brian McLean was in. Brian used to be a roadie for the Byrds, incidentally, and he started a band after that. Well, I didn't really pay too much attention to those guys, unfortunately. So I really couldn't comment on their music.
Is that right? Were you close to any other bands at the time?
We knew the Jefferson Airplane, and we knew the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and let's see, the Mamas and Papas, and Buffalo Springfield.
So you would always kind of pay attention.
We knew John Sebastian and the Lovin' Spoonful. So we used to hang out together, but I didn't know Moby Grape and those guys.
Yeah, and those the bands that you hung out with were also the bands you were kind of paying attention to musically as well.
Yeah, more or less, because they're your friends. You listen to them more.
And thinking back on those times, what was the most enjoyable?
I guess the most thrilling was hanging out with the Beatles and the Stones. Going to parties at Brian Jones' house and being up with Lennon and McCartney and hanging out and playing songs together. And that was really exciting.
Do you think it was more like innocent back then?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, people just doing music for music's sake. There wasn't, a lot.
There was a lot because, as I said before, it was an artistic renaissance. People were really into the love of the art of it, and if you made some money on the side, that was great, but that wasn't the primary motivation. And in fact, there wasn't a whole lot of money in it. If you look back at some of these rock biographies, like the Beatles were kind of broke, Nobody knew that, but they didn't have a lot of money.
How about about yourself? Were you at the mercy of your manager or your record company? Or?
Yeah, we got ripped off by unscrupulous people along the way.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until later that we finally got financially stable.
Mm-hmm. But I guess you learned a lot along the way. Have you sort of tried to pass on your knowledge to younger musicians?
Well, whenever I have a chance, I tell them to, keep their own publishing, and don't really trust your manager. Like keep an eye on them. If you have somebody that's doing your books with power of attorney, really watch them closely because they can run with your money.
We don't hear much about your ever having been involved with drugs.
I was, but I got out of it. It was a passing thing, and it was something that I regret doing.
Mm-hmm. That was just in the 60s. You didn't have much involvement after that?
No.
There's a question here about what your performance in Japan is going to be like. What exactly do you have in mind for the show?
Well, I'm going to be doing, let's see, I've got a set list here. Love That Never Dies, which was on the Birds box set. There was a new song written for that.
Mm-hmm.
Car Phone from the Back from Rio album.
Mm-hmm.
You Bowed Down from the Back from Rio album.
Mm-hmm.
Chimes of Freedom, Bob Dylan song.
Mm-hmm.
Someone to Love from the Back from Rio album.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Queen, the song I wrote back with the Birds, and I've updated it since then.
Mm-hmm.
Chestnut Mare, song that I wrote with Jacques Levy, and for a Broadway play, which incidentally we will be putting on in a week or so up in at a college in New York.
What's it called, the play?
The play's going to be called Just a Season. And back to the set list. The Trees Are All Gone from the Back from Rio album. The Time Has Come from the Back from Rio album. Your Love Is a Gold Mine from Back from Rio. Am I going too fast? Are you recording this? Or?
Yeah, recording.
Okay. My Back Pages from the Birds. If We Never Meet Again from Back from Rio. Lover of the Bayou, which is from the play, Just a Season. King of the Hill, the song I wrote with Tom Petty. Mr. Tambourine Man, Turn, 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 8 Miles High. So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star, Feel a Whole Lot Better. And I've got, other songs I might do instead of those. Or, this is not etched in granite. But I will be doing some of those songs.
Now, is this a set you've been performing live, and is the band one you've been taking around with you, or is it going to be all new?
It's a band that I haven't met yet that work over there, and I'll be just meeting them for the first time when I come over.
Oh, it's a band that works over here.
Yes.
Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that type of thing happens. I mean, who arranges that?
Well, the promoter did.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Japanese musicians?
No, they're Americans.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be damned. I didn't know they did stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it should be good.
Uh-huh.
It should be fun.
So they just take the sheet music and...
Not the sheet music. No, they're probably going to learn it off the records. And most of the stuff, well...
Part of the standard material.
Yeah, they can get it off the Back from Rio album and the Birds box set, basically.
I see. Huh, okay. Good enough. All right then, Roger. I think we've got what we need to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my man.
You're welcome.
Look forward to seeing the show when you get out here.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You've been living in Tokyo?
Yeah, I've been here about 12, 13 years now.
Great. What do? You just interpret for people, or?
Yeah, I'm actually a translator. In other words, I actually sit at a desk and translate written documents.
All right. So
I've been working in the music business for about 12 years now. I've got about 500 interviews under my belt.
How'd you get into this?
Well, I've always been a real music fan.
Yeah.
So it was just sort of a natural for me. And
no, but I mean into Tokyo, because that's a little unusual.
Yeah. Well, I had a girlfriend, like a Japanese girlfriend in high school. So when I got into Berkeley, I started studying Japanese immediately, and eventually became a major.
As a written language, right?
Yeah, well, it's written and spoken. And then I studied for a year here as an exchange student.
Uh-huh.
And when I got out of Berkeley, this was just the place for me to come. Plus
That's great.
I really like it here. So yeah, it's been good. It's been very good.
I like Japan a lot. at one point I said, "Boy, how can I live over